All right, walkability versus privacy, right? One of the most common things I hear from buyers here in Bellingham is that I want something walkable, but I also want privacy, right? And to be honest, most of the time, it's not a real ask, right? There's two different lifestyle pretending to be one. In Bellingham, you can absolutely prioritize walkability, right? You can absolutely prioritize privacy, but when you're trying to maximize both, it usually tends to lead to frustration. Areas that give you one tend to pull away from the other. Let me explain, right? This comes up all the time, right? Buyers tell me they want to walk to coffee shops, restaurants, parks, maybe even to the grocery store. But in the same conversation, they say they'd like a bigger lot, quiet surroundings, and some distance from their neighbors, and something that feels tucked away, right? And none of those sound unreasonable until we actually start looking, because once you get into the search, we see this tension show up. The most connected and convenient areas tend to be areas where we're giving up space and separation, because the more private and spacious it becomes, your lifestyle tends to drift towards driving everywhere. This is why it's one of the most important decisions early on in the search process. What's more important, privacy or walkability? No, that's not because one's better than the other, because confusion here can actually kind of derail the search process. So we're going to talk through 4 different considerations to keep in mind when you're thinking about your next move. Okay, so consideration number 1, walkability is a real benefit for your lifestyle, but it comes with density. What do I mean, right? The walkable parts of Bellingham are often appealing for a reason, right? There's charm, there's character. Think Sunnyland, think lettered streets, think Roosevelt, that you can step out your front door and feel connected to something like trails or walking paths. You can get close to coffee shops, shopping, and it's really convenient for a lot of buyers. But lifestyle sometimes matters more than they initially realize. Comes with trade-offs, right? Smaller lots, usually less separation from neighbors, usually more street presence and cars parked on the street. It doesn't mean that these neighborhoods are worse. It's just we have to make trade-offs for that walkability. Consideration number 2, privacy usually means more choosing space over convenience, right? When we look at space and privacy, more land, something a little bit more quiet and more breathing room. In some cases, better views and a stronger sense of kind of like a personal oasis or retreat, but then you're getting in the car more, right? Not occasionally, but regularly. Like if you're moving out and want some acreage, maybe you're off of Hannigan or Smith Road, kind of like mid-county, but Bellingham address, you're still driving to everything. You might get a 5-acre parcel and have a house with a barn and a bunch of cool like spaces that the kids can go roam and play, but you're driving to everything. You might have, sports that you're driving into daily, maybe practices or just things in town. You're gonna rely on your car more. This is where I see buyers that can contradict themselves. They say they want the calm, peace and quiet and the separation, but they also want to feel like they're 5 minutes from everything. Great news about Bellingham is most things, when I have people moving to the area, it's about 15 to 20 minutes from most everything you want, but it's not right outside your back door if you want that convenience and walkability. So privacy, when we think about it, is great, but privacy is usually going to come with a little bit more planning, a little bit more driving, and a little less spontaneity. Not good or bad, just different. Consideration number 3, we're thinking about your actual stage of life mattering more than just abstract preferences. What do I mean by that? In theory, buyers are like, oh, I want a little bit of both, some space and some walkability. But the reality, like the stage of life that you're in, is almost going to drive it. Like I would be listening to that a little bit more, right? If you're someone that wants to be out, connected, social, and kind of like the walkability is more important because that's the stage of life you're in, maybe you're going to want something closer to town. If you have a family, maybe you want some more space, you want some chickens and goats, like my wife always talks about, you might want to be a little bit further out, that you have some space, but then you're going to be more car dependent. Privacy is going to win. Neither is right or wrong, neither is more or less sophisticated, but it's about fit. Consideration number 4, increasing the budget helps, but it does not magically eliminate the trade-off. A lot of buyers assume that adding to the budget is going to magically solve your problems. Sometimes it helps, but it doesn't erase it. With a bigger budget, we can get better versions of whatever lifestyle we're looking for. Maybe it's a little bit more private feeling home in a stronger location. Maybe it's a little bit more walkable home with a better design and outdoor space, but even at higher price points, still choosing what matters most is paramount. That's the part people resist, because everybody still wants to have that ultra unicorn corner lot, one that has total privacy, perfect walkability, and they think it's just waiting for them. Usually it's not there. So if you're trying to decide between walkability, between privacy, and in Bellingham, the best move isn't just to start looking at houses. It's really to start getting clear about your life, right? How do you want your weekends to feel? How about your weekdays? How often do you actually want to go into town? And how much do you care about things like neighbors, right next door, driving distance, convenience, and space? So once we get answers to those questions, once we're really clear, your home search gets a lot easier. If you'd like help narrowing down your search, I'd be happy to walk you through what areas are going to align most with your lifestyle and what you actually want, not just what sounds good in theory. Please share this with somebody, family, or friends that are thinking about making a move, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks.